Hey everyone, this is Scott from the Scott to Grow Podcast. Welcome to another edition of ReWatching Agents of S.h.i.e.L.D. Today I'm talking about Season 2, Episode 11, Aftershocks. I'm just going to be starting off with the plot summary so we have an idea of what happened in this episode, then just talking about my general thoughts and foreshadowing and Easter eggs I noticed in this episode. So let's just start with that plot summary, which says, in the wake of Tripp's death, Coulson looks to hit back at Hydra, who are considering having Bakshi fill Whitehall's leadership position. S.h.i.e.L.D. enacts a plan that sees Bakshi escaping and leading them to the other high-ranking Hydra agents, who are then killed. In San Juan, the ancient city is flooded, but not before a transformed Reina escapes, now with a monstrous appearance. When Cal turns his back on her, reminding her that she got what she wanted, Reina attempts to commit suicide, but is taken by the man with no eyes, Gordon, who can teleport. Fitz and Skye realize that Skye has also been transformed. She caused the earthquake in San Juan, but has no control over this ability. Fitz agrees to keep her secret and hides the truth from the rest of the team. Meanwhile, a model car that Mac built for Coulson scans Coulson's office and finds the toolbox that director Nick Fury had given to Coulson. Mac, who has been studying the S.h.i.e.L.D. base's schematics, secretly reports this back to Bobby. So yeah, guys, this episode was pretty interesting with them kind of coming back after the big events of that last episode. You know, Skye getting transformed. They don't 100%, only a couple of them really know that something happened to her. Actually something happened to her. Her and Fitz are the only one who pretty much know at this point, and Reina, and I guess now, and Cal, because Reina tells Cal. That's not the point. The point is they're still kind of recovering from the aftermath of last episode, even though this was kind of the hiatus for this season. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode because I like the way they try to get all the way back into it, but they don't force too much of it, right? Like, they have Skye kind of recuperating, because she should be. She's healing up, trying to figure out what's wrong with her. The team's a little bit divided over the fact that, they lost Tripp, and they're all dealing with it in their own different ways. Mac at one point kind of freaks out on Coulson a little bit, which, is understandable. They're all under a lot of, they're all going through a lot with this, and they're all dealing with their own ways. And we all know that, Mac and Bobby have their own secret agenda going on, which we get a lot more details. Well, not details, but we get a lot more of, definitive kind of, oh yeah, they're definitely up to something in this episode, because obviously that model car that Mac had given to Coulson was, a plant, and it's for them to have gotten into his office to look for the toolbox, and that's the connection back to the real S.h.i.e.L.D. And I really like that element of this episode, because they kind of foreshadow it early on in this episode. They foreshadowed it a little bit before, because Mac gave it to him a few episodes ago. But at the beginning of this episode, at one point, we see them pan in Coulson's office, and you see a glimpse of the thing, and it's pretty it's in the foreground, and you got Coulson in the background, so it's pretty obvious that they were trying to kind of point that out a little bit, that was going to be coming back later in this episode, and it did. That's how the end of the episode pretty much ended off, was this thing has some kind of scanner come out of it and scans the room to find the toolbox. I really like the way that, the design of that, the idea of it too is pretty cool. It's a little sneaky, but they are spies, so do what you do, Mac. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of get to that kind of conflict between the real S.h.i.e.L.D. and Coulson's S.h.i.e.L.D., because I always kind of forget the details of how that 100% plays out. But so yeah, I'm excited to get to that. What are some of the other things I enjoyed about this episode? Oh, we had the flashback at the very beginning to when the teleporter Gordon was first getting his powers, and how he was being helped by Skye/Daisy's mom to help control his powers, and so kind of give an idea of where what she's up to, and how she kind of, we get only a little hint. For those of us who have already seen this, obviously we know that she trains these people, and she, protects them and stuff like that, helps them control their powers and abilities, and so that's obviously where this part of the season's going to. But I just like the way they kind of just tease it a little bit. They don't go too heavy-handed with it. They just kind of, they show, don't tell. And I just really enjoyed that element of this. And that guy's effect's really cool. The way he teleports, the electricity just coming right out of him all around. I just enjoy that effect. And he looks cool even though he's blind. I like his coat. Dresses really well. What else do I have written down? Oh, at one point we see Simmons shooting at Reina, because Reina attacked some of the S.h.i.e.L.D. agents, and Simmons just without hesitation, takes out a gun and starts shooting at her. She doesn't even know 100% if it's Reyna or not at first. She just, without hesitation, just on instinct, just takes the gun out and shoots at Reyna a few times. And I just really enjoyed that little part of this because it just shows how much she's grown since the beginning of this show. It's for only a season and barely a season and a half into the show, and she's already gone from, scared lab brain person, assistant science person. I didn't know how to put that. Wow, came out terribly. But you know what I mean? She was the science people, and now she's being able to hold up for herself and able to stand up for herself with the gun and all the kind of action that they have to deal with, especially after her encounter with Hydra. I really just enjoyed that element that they showed, that she's starting to become a little harder. She's becoming a little bit more brave and trained into that. And I just really enjoyed that. It's just a little thing, just her not even being scared about just taking the gun out and shooting, just being ready for it. I just really enjoyed that little part, just that little thing that helped develop her, showing the development of her character and that she's progressed throughout this show. And I just really enjoyed that element. But what else do I have written down? All of Hydra got eliminated for the most part. You could have had 2 more pops off. I feel like nobody really listens to that sometimes in the MCU, but it is a thing. Anyways, and the last thing I just have written down was a line that Sky says at the end, which is, "We're going to laugh a lot less," in referring to Trip being gone. They were all kind of remembering him at the end of the episode, and and her saying that line just makes me really think that that's kind of a little bit of foreshadowing for the rest of not the rest of the show, but at least the rest of this season, that they're kind of taking away a little bit of a turn away from the wackier side that some of these earlier episodes would try to do, but they're going to go a little more serious, particularly with this season, a lot more serious, a lot more I don't know what the word is for it, but I'm sure you guys know what I mean. But yeah, that's all my thoughts for this episode in particular. Be sure to let me know in the comments below, guys, if there's anything I missed that you liked or that you noticed for foreshadowing elements or Easter eggs. I'm always curious to hear about those. Thanks for joining me again, and have a good one.